Kitco Mining's special coverage of the Vancouver Resource Investment Conference is brought to you by First Mining Gold.
America needs more critical metals, but is it going to mine them? I'm with Mickey Fulp. He is the Mercenary Geologist. He is a mining pillar. He's a mining legend. Mickey, welcome back to Kitco.
I'm infamous. I'm not sure about being a pillar. That kind of means I don't move around very much anymore.
I think the fact is that you've been here and you've been in the industry for so long, and we appreciate you seeing you at these shows. Let's talk about mine development, but first we really got to talk about this environment for gold. We've been off to a raring start at the beginning of the year. I've seen $1,900 plus in terms of what's happening with precious metals. What's going on?
US dollars down 10% since October. Do the math. 10% down on the dollar, equivalent to 10% up on gold. Plus you have a seasonal rise in gold. We do the numbers. We got this massive database. We normalize it over the course of the last 27 years from December 25th to the end of February. Gold on average goes up 5%. Since October to now, gold is up 15%, 10%. And Kitco does this every day with its how much of gold's rise is due to the US dollar strength or weakness.
Yeah.
And so there it is. It is still almost 7% off its all-time high. So I think it's expected that gold would be going up right now.
$1,900 is a good price for gold right now. But is this something that you want to play? And also, how do you play it?
Well, I play it by buying gold on physical dips. Now, I'm not buying gold any year between December 15th and the last week of February because it's going up. I buy gold in the summer doldrums on dips, or I bought gold during the early days of the pandemic when it went to $1,400 an ounce. So I play gold space right now by buying physical gold on dips.
We're at the Vancouver Resource Investment Conference. How about miners, and also how about juniors?
Well, with the rise in gold price, we've had some movement in the gold miners, but it has yet to trickle down to even much into the mid-tiers and certainly not to the juniors. So we generally need a sustained run in the gold price. I don't think the junior sector is going to prosper or come out. It's still in a pretty extreme bear market, and until once again the American general investor comes into our market, and we're not there yet. Not saying we're not going to get there. I hope we get there, but I don't see an end to the bear market in juniors at this stage.
What's the issue? You say that right now, what's holding back in terms of actually it's just that there's just isn't an interest right now? There's just people not coming into this?
There's no interest, and what's holding it back, all these people got extremely burned when they piled into this sector in 2020. That was only 2.5 years ago, summer of 2020 till the fall, and they all threw their money in willy-nilly like they've done with cryptos. It was the next big thing. And there was $3 billion raised in this business in private placements. Most of that went to pros like you and me, people that have been in the sector for quite some time. When that paper became free trading, and the price of gold had gone down, there was nobody to buy. And the same thing happened in 2016. We are still, the bear market started in arguably late 2012, 2013. So we're now basically 10 years into it, and we've had 2 bull runs during that period of time. 6 to 9 month runs in 2016, 2019, driven by a rising gold price.
Let's talk about investor interest. There is investor interest in critical minerals. Now, I want to get this quote right. This was from Business in Vancouver. They were talking about Nevada permitting. They were also talking about lithium. The reporter described you as someone who is no fan of lithium and owns no lithium mining stock. Why is that, Mickey?
I do not want to, it's not investing, number one, it's speculating. Well, I think we can agree on that. I don't want to be in a commodity with the sort of price volatility that lithium has had over the last 10 or 12 years. It goes up exponential and it falls down on the parabolic side. And it's done that 3 or 4 times. You know, we saw a lithium price, if memory serves, something about over $60,000 a couple of months ago. Last time I looked now, it's at $45,000, $46,000 per metric ton for lithium carbonate. So, or not dollars, Chinese yuan, I should say. Chinese yuan, so divide that by 7 nominally. So this up and down on the price does not allow you to speculate with any confidence that the lithium price is going to be supportive when a junior that you buy needs its next financing. And so, and also the big problem in my mind with lithium, it's a 5-part cartel. You've got 2 Fortune 500 companies, FMC and Albemarle, US listed. You've got SQM, which is another New York Stock Exchange company, Chileno company that generates something nearly $2 billion of revenues every year. These are giant multinational diversified chemical companies, of which lithium can be a big part or a minor part of, but they're not pure lithium plays. And then you've got 2 Chinese Communist Party entities that constitute a 5-member cartel, and it's incestuous because the Chinese Communist Party owns projects at Albemarle, 50-50 joint ventures. So it reminds me a bit of the tin cartel of the late 70s and early 80s. So it's just not a place I choose to play.
How are we doing with mine development? You have been critical in the past of what's happening in the US, but how would you say there seems to be a little bit more of a political push in terms of recognizing that there should be? So what I could catch up right now, we saw the disappointing news regarding Twin Metals and turned down in terms of Minnesota. Maybe going back a month ago, it looked like Perpetua down in Idaho might be getting, how would you say, easing towards getting something done there. But generally, how is it looking in America right now in developing a project?
We aren't developed. There are no new large mines that will be developed in the United States under a Biden administration. It is the same as the Obama administration from 2008 to 2016. There was not a permit and development approved in any large mine in the United States. Since Biden has come in, we've seen him kill about 4 projects. Trilogy Metals, Northwest Alaska, got the permit for the road, was remanded back to the BLM. We've got Twin Metals recently. They withdrew for 20 years, withdrew the land that deposit is on for mineral entry. We've got Rosemont in Arizona, that permitting is on hold. We've got Resolution Copper in central Arizona, permitting is on hold. So there has been no development. You mentioned Perpetua, used to be called Midas Gold, and they have been in permitting purgatory, if you will, for going on 8 years now, and with no end in sight. When's it going to happen? And I don't think it is under the Biden administration.
Let's talk about...
And these are copper, nickel, copper deposits plus or minus nickel, plus or minus cobalt, the so-called, all of which are so-called green metals.
How much does the Biden administration matter? A lot of these decisions go down to kind of local state governments. Also, you're
Generally,
talking about
this is Fed stuff going on here. All the cases I mentioned is at the federal level, and they were progressing under the Trump administration very quickly. And that all came the door was slammed shut the day he got elected and killed the Keystone Pipeline.
environmental social governments. We're at the Vancouver Resource Investment Conference. You're going to be talking to juniors. They're really going to be leading with talking about ESG. Part of like building a mine is actually kind of getting, how would you say, local buy-in. You look, for instance, what's happening in Peru, and then you look at the convulsions that country is going in right now. You really need to have a community that will have a belief in what you're building, and then that will actually be contributing largely to that. Does ESG have a benefit in that fact in terms of actually kind of building that buy-in at a local community level?
I'm not sure it does in Peru. Peru is reverted to what it's been at times in the past, which is a corrupt socio-fascist mess, cesspool. They've had what, 4 different presidents of Peru in the last 4 or 5 years. They just impeached a very far left-wing president. Now the elitist right-wingers will presumably come into power, but there is a severe problem in Peru, and I still own a couple of stocks that have Peruvian projects, and they're in the toilet, and I wouldn't put any money into Peru right now myself, nor would I probably put money into Canada. Look what happened recently with the coal mine that was where the native people were given ultimate veto on if that coal mine is ever going to be built. So this is worldwide right now. Your point's well taken. We need metals, but it's pretty hard to develop a mine anywhere in the world at this stage.
Vicky, I'm going to paint an optimistic picture for mining.
Optimism is good.
All right. Well, let's talk about critical metals. There's a real switch to, I would say, energy battery-driven cars. You need cars that are going to have more copper. You need all these specialized metals, and then there's a move away from the oil and gas industry. Given the size of the oil and gas industry, even if a portion of that money starts going into mining, that's great for the industry itself. The bloom has come off the rose for crypto. You see that people are really recognizing the value of gold in terms of if you have that belief in terms of protection against fiat currency. There's also political will that has actually come to the fact. You look at what's happened with the Inflation Reduction Act, and then you've seen support for companies such as Piedmont Lithium. You've seen its support for Linus, for instance. You see support for Jervois. They're building large plants. They're building large downstream plants for what they're happening in the mineral space. You have the kind of political will. You have what is actually happening, this real demand with energy transition. It's a good time to be in mining.
Well, I'm going to challenge what you said about energy transition. In 2023, which we are in right now, the world will use 4% more oil, have record amounts of natural gas production and coal production. Coal production is projected to continue to rise at least till 2030. So I don't buy the idea that we have an energy transition. The idea of electric vehicles probably works in the lower mainland in Victoria, but it doesn't work in the heartland of America where I am from and where I live. I know of no one in the heartland of my group of friends in 2 different locations that I spend time that own or plan to own electric vehicles. So there's no doubt that with 85 million more people on the planet every year, the world's going to need more copper. The copper demand has increased year over year 4% since 1900. So the green component, if you will, of copper production is going to be an add-on to that, but it doesn't really change the fact that we use more copper year after year after year. So I don't see it myself. More importantly, I don't see an energy transition in my foreseeable future. Certainly not in my lifetime.
If you were starting in the resource sector now, what would you do? What would you be in?
Exactly what I did in the late 70s and early 80s. I'd go knocking on doors, come to conferences, get summer jobs when I was a schoolboy. I would get a master's degree in geology. I'd go to work for a major mining company for 5 or 6 years and then go out on my own. And that's what I did. And I would still do that. There's still jobs out here for young geologists, but you've got to be aggressive. I got 3 or 4 of my early jobs just going to Reno or Denver and knocking on doors of exploration companies and said, I'm looking for a job.
Would you work for an exploration company or would you work for a miner?
Exploration, that's what I've always done. I'm not a miner, I'm not a mole. I like to go underground, I wouldn't want to work underground, but the real money, the real opportunities is made in these speculative exploration companies. So that I would stick with that. Otherwise, but you do need that major mining company experience, I think, to give you a basis.
Mickey, where can people find you?
Well, you can find me on Kitco 365, 24/7 with one of my podcasts. I thank Kitco once again for supporting me on this for 13 years now. I've had a presence on Kitco. At Mercenary Geo, 47,000 Twitter followers and free newsletter. We got 7,700 subscribers. MercenaryGeologist.com.
Mickey, thanks for your time.
Thanks a lot.
My name is Michael McRae here at the Vancouver Resource Investment Conference for Kitco Mining.
Kitco Mining's special coverage of the Vancouver Resource Investment Conference is brought to you by First Mining Gold.